and welcome to the year-end award show. I am Ol'Ed and I'm joined by, down here, Mr. Bobby Munson. To this side, Miss F'N Goodnight. And below her, we got the wonderful Melball Collins joining us as well. One of us has an echo. I don't know which one. Anyways, we'll move on. Hopefully it's fixed. So we're here to go ahead and talk about the year that was in professional wrestling in 2023. And it was a fun year.
It was.
Let's go ahead and start with Mel. Do you not disagree? Do you disagree, Lauren?
If I have to listen to the goddamn internet wrestling community, like someone shoot me, please. I know I'm a part of it too. Just take me out. Just like from afar, make sure I just ate something nice. Just one in the head. It'll be great.
It's like a Lassie situation.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It was an old Yeller thing.
An old Yeller. Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and start with something fun. Let's start with something simple. Show of the year. Bobby, why don't we go ahead and start with you, as MLW's a newcomer to this show this year.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk to us about MLW's Show of the Year.
MLW Show of the Year. I'm actually going to give this one to MLW's One Shot. It was such an unexpected pay-per-view from MLW this year that they haven't done since 2017. It happened on a Thursday night, mind you, as well, too, managing to get 6 matches on that main card, continuing their crossover with NJPW. Melball joined me on screen for the watch-along for this one. Highlighted by Alex Kane and Matt Cardona, with the great feud with the World Titan Federation and, of course, the Bomaye Fight Club going on. The continuation of Janai Kai's dominance at the featherweight division as she took on Maki Ito that night. We got to see Mayu Yamashita for the first time in MLW that evening, taking on Delby Exo. So, I mean, there was a lot to be said for a Thursday night card and how well put together it was. So, MLW One Shot takes the win for that one for me.
Is Ed muted?
I was muted.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, what's going on here?
I'm always muted. It's fine. Mel, you watched the show, as Bobby said, with him. What are your thoughts on this show as a whole?
Now, this was, I think, my second show that I watched with Bobby with MLW.
Yep.
And it just kind of continued the good vibes from the first show. I was very interested in Mr. Thor wannabe. Mr. what was his name? Hammerstone. Yeah, but overall, it was my also first time seeing a full Maki Ito match, which I was very excited about.
Really?
And also, yeah, like I've seen clips of her. I follow her on Instagram. Obviously, I know who she is. I love her stuff, and she posts a lot of stuff through GCW. But yeah, this was also another experience to see Yamashita. I think was how her name is said.
Yeah,
just the kicks. The kicks of that girl are just unreal. Very good show.
And I even suggest going back when it comes to Maki Ito a little while back in MLW against Becca. It was a surprisingly good match with the back and forth comedy of the two of them being pop singers. And Becca actually cut a single as a promo towards Maki Ito in the build up to it called You Ain't Cute. Hilarious stuff. Really well done. And the match executed well too.
That would be something to see.
Yeah. And you've got Bobby Petito, Bobby Stouts on your side, saying that for MLW he would have had one shot as well. Mel, we'll go to you next. Stardom, Show of the Year.
Okay, I'm going to pull up my notes here. My pick for this one I agonized over with Andre, my partner on Andre and Melville's Wrestling Talk, because we just watched Queendom and we're like, oh, hot diggity dang, this show was great. But when we compared all of the matches from Queendom versus the one that I picked, which was the All-Star Grand Queendom in April, there was just a lot better quality and a higher quantity of title matches on this show. We saw Mai Sakurai, who won the opening Rumble. We saw Oedo Tai defeat Club Venus. There was a high-speed match. There was a Logan Paul kind of situation going where an internet personality in Japan named Fuwa-chan teamed with Hazuki against the Red Queen Utami Hayashishida and who's her partner Miyu Amasaki. And Fuwa-chan wrestling just as great as Logan Paul has surprised a lot of us in the WWE. So that was a very fun match to kind of have in there. We saw a new Goddess of Stardom champions crowned in a questionable ending, but an exciting match nonetheless. We saw a new Artist of Stardom champions. We saw Mina Shirakawa dethrone Saya Kamitani for that Wonder of Stardom championship, which is essentially their intercontinental kind of style of championship. We saw Mayu Iwatani defeating Mercedes Moné for that IWGP Women's Championship, which, if you know, that was a banger of the match. And lastly, that main event, Tam Nakano versus Julia for the World of Stardom champion. This was where Julia did lose that title to Tam Nakano, and Nakano started her reign before she broke herself. Yeah, this show was absolutely incredible. It had some matches where I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that ending, but it was an exciting show from start to finish with no hiccups for me whatsoever.
Very, very nice. And while we're on the subject of Mel, let's go ahead and go to the New Japan shows. You got two different groups to cover because we're all kind of covering men and women's wrestling. And unfortunately, with Japanese wrestling, you tend to get one or the other. So we're having Mel cover both Stardom and New Japan to go ahead and get that in. That's why Mel will often have two things in every category as opposed to the rest of us.
That's why my catch thing is the deuces, right? Peace, love, and two kinds of wrestling. Yeah, my choice for show of the year, despite having a lot of shows to choose from, was Wrestle Kingdom 17 because my match of the year was on this show as well. We had Kairi defeating Tam Nakano for the IWGP Women's Championship, Kairi defeating Tam Nakano to retain the championship. Mercedes Moné debuting on this show, and some questions about how she debuted. I personally loved it, having watched it live at Ungodly Hour. It was an exciting debut. It was great. Bishamon, the team of Bishamon taking on FTR in this one. And also you open up with Catch 2-2. TJP and Francesco Akira taking on Leo Rush for that IWGP Junior Championships. They just did it again at this last Wrestle Kingdom. And I'm going to just flat out say, you have to open up Wrestle Kingdom with Catch 2-2. They set up the entire show. It was so good. Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Ren Narita to retain that TV title, which is now gone to El Presidente. Tama Tonga defeating Carl Anderson mercifully without Gallows in his corner. Very happy about that match. Muto wrestled his final NJPW match on this card against LIJ. Hiromu Takahashi retained in a fatal four-way, but the match of the night for me was Kenny Omega and Ospreay for that title. Holy heckin' crap. I mean, Okada did take on Jay White after this, but I did feel like it was a little overshadowed by the Ospreay Omega match. Yeah, that was my pick for the show.
Anybody else have any thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom 17? Nope. Okay.
Really covered it.
It's a very long time ago. Was it just over a year ago? And of course, we now go to AEW.
Yes, I loved Wrestle Dream. I think while there were shows that maybe were overall better, overall I'm sitting here and I'm having a good time the entire show. It's the fact that the highs were so high. The lows were mids. That's fairly normal, but the highs were real high. The Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson match. You could have put that anywhere in the whole world, any show, perfect. It also had Swerve versus Hangman Part 1, which has been overshadowed by the death match. I mean, obviously, but the reason they were able to have the death match is because the Wrestle Dream match was so good. and it really, really, really was. Christian Cage versus Darby for the main event was fun, if only because I like, 2 out of 3 falls matches. And I loved watching FTR beat the shit out of Aussie Open. I love watching people beat the shit out of Aussie Open. Like that's fun.
It's what they're there for.
Yeah. I liked the 4-way tag match. I didn't agree that no, now that I think about it, like that was the time where Stat beat Julia Hart. And I think that was a good time to beat her because she came back and like whipped an ass. But I think that so much good build happened at Wrestle Dream and so much goodwill was fostered that really is that's my show of the year.
Anybody else have thoughts on Wrestle Dream? I this is actually one of my favorite AEW shows. I've actually caught a couple of these matches on there. It's a strong card from top.
I loved ZSJ versus Danielson. I mean, if you want to talk about a dream match, like they could have put nothing else on this card and it would probably still be my match of the year. I mean, it would still be my my show of the year because it's that good. Mox doing commentary over it was hilarious and beautiful and perfect. It was everything I wanted. Aussie Open equals punching bag. Let's go. That's right.
But to be fair, I love Aussie Open.
Yes.
Mind you, I couldn't pick Kyle Fletcher out of the lineup when he was on the ROH show. That's because he didn't have Mark Davis with him.
Right.
And he also had like red paint on that made him look like he had some kind of disease, but that's besides the point.
Oh my God. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think that it has a lot to offer the casual viewer. And, it's just very, very well-rounded. I wish there were some matches I wish were just better. But I mean, when you have Kingston versus Shibata, you can't bitch too much about, about the good that you get. It's like the good was just so good. There were so many highs. Everything else was mid, but there were like 5 or 6 highs on, a card with 14 matches, which is amazing. And to me, I had, it was the best overall.
Yeah. So for me, I had the problem when covering WWE to figure out how to balance this year because there are so many great 1 or 2 match shows for WWE this year. Royal Rumble was great, but it was kind of a 1 or 2 match thing. Elimination Chamber, Sami Zayn's crowning moment almost in his hometown. Like the pop that he got going into that weekend. But the rest of the show is kind of blah. Did not all look great on that show. WrestleMania is great. I love WrestleMania, but there's 35,000 matches at WrestleMania weekend. It's hard to call that the tops of the tops. So I decided to settle a little bit with a card that had 5 matches. I guarantee it's the least amount of matches on any show, on anybody's show of the year. I'll be honest, I went Survivor Series. How can you not go Survivor Series when you open with the Women's War Games? And those girls go damn
I saw a bunch of shit about Women's War Games, and I don't even watch WWE. It was sick.
Those girls went out there and tore it up for a half an hour inside that cage. Plunder aplenty. All kinds of great storytelling in that match, bringing Charlotte and Bianca and Becky back together, having the story of Bayley trying to hold together Damage Control all by herself while everybody's waiting for her to turn heel. And she's the one person clinging to the group being like, no, I can save you all. And then taking everything at the end. Gunther versus Miz. Well, yes, people will say it's not all that great. I love The Miz, and I think Gunther's the perfect antithesis for The Miz when it comes to professional wrestling. Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee as Dragon Lee steps in kind of last minute as Rey Mysterio gets hurt and everybody else gets hurt. I think that was supposed to be Carlito, if I remember correctly, for that match. But honestly, Dragon Lee's better than having Carlito in that spot. Rhea Ripley takes on Zoe Stark for Zoe's first one-on-one match in a pay-per-view for the championship. Just absolutely fantastic. And by the way, the women in the singles match don't get the shortest match of the night. Nice job, WWE. Also, you put two of your 5 matches were women's matches. All in all, you had almost 11 women featured. And you count Rhea Ripley twice in the show, with her being involved in the main event, where, of course, the men's War Game match, where Randy Orton makes his triumphant return looking jacked as ever. And then the end of the show, where you got no nonsense, I want to be at the adult table, Phil, popping back up and saying hi in Chicago again. I mean, I'm not one for Phil. I could love him or leave him. I really don't need Phil. But you know what? He popped the crowd. He broke a whole lot of metrics on that show, coming back. So as much as I wanted to pick Backlash or Elimination Chamber, it's yes, as much as I wanted to pick Backlash, it had to be SummerSlam. Survivor Series, I mean. It just had to. It's the only match that didn't really have a down. It just kind of started high, comes down a little bit, give people some time to breathe with Gunther, more time to breathe with the the Lucha Libre stuff, and then boom, up comes Rhea Ripley, up comes the main event. It just was what it was.
It was what it was. That's my way of saying.
What's that, Mel?
I don't actually recall if I actually watched this one.
You might not. You might have missed it. I mean, like I said, it's tough. WWE had so many really good shows that everything was just kind of across the board good this year. They didn't have a lot of shows that were just bad shows. Like, hell, in this spot, I almost had 3 main roster shows and No Mercy, an NXT show, because No Mercy almost had my match of the year on it as well. Also, Deadline almost had my match of the year candidate on it as well. Because again, I cover NXT, I watch it every week, so those shows get a little bit higher for me. But SummerSlam was a hell of a show.
You know, you loved War Games so much that you keep calling it SummerSlam. I think that whole settled comment from the beginning just proves that this show wasn't quite as good as you think. And I think that Astrid might have hit the nail on the head when she said Backlash. Just saying.
I love Backlash, but if you go back and look at that card, there are some bad matches on that card. Remember, we've got Cody versus Brock on that card. In the main event, if I remember correctly. I believe the main event of that show was Brock versus Cody, when it should have been Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. But remember, that's the show with 3 main events. And when you have 3 main events,
it was so good. It had 3 main events. That's it trumps your SummerSlam / Survivor Series.
Moving on from Show of the Year, we're going to go ahead and head to Match of the Year. And we're going to head back to AEW because Lauren couldn't decide.
No, I could. I fucking could decide. There was no question.
Well, I have 2 Match of the Year graphics here, so we'll put up one and then we'll let you talk about men drinking blood afterwards with...
Okay. You're right. This one was just right down the middle. I could not decide which was better. Danielson versus ESJ redefined, and this is what makes a match of the year for me. It has to define something differently. You have 365 days to elevate your sport. What's it going to be? And I have never seen a match as intense, as technically sound, and as high energy as ZSJ versus Danielson at WrestleDream. And it really helped to have a great commentary team. And I swear to God, Mox was brilliant on commentary. Mox was brilliant on both commentary times he got to do. The 2 times he got to do it on WrestleDream. But the entire package of ZSJ Danielson is something you could show anybody and say, this is wrestling.
I would disagree on the next match. You can definitely not do that with Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland 2.
This was okay. So there's best match and there's favorite match. Best match was ZSJ versus Danielson. My favorite match was Paige versus Strickland 2. And I mean, when you look at my match of the year last year, it's Astrid says, I knew Lauren couldn't forget the blood spot, lol. No, I couldn't. And if you remember last year, my match of the year was a hardcore match as well. It was
Mox and
Bunny's hardcore match. It was the Bunny's hardcore match.
It was also Wheeler, and you also had Wheeler and Mox on there too.
Did I? Was that my thing? Yeah. Well, we obviously see that I go to the deathmatch sort of way of enjoying that kind of stuff. No rules, lights out, that kind of thing. So when you see something again that redefines the genre, you have to give it props. And what Paige Strickland 2 did was blow the top off of deathmatch wrestling. It went there. And I've watched it 2 or 3 more times just to sit there and take it apart. And it was a match about being shocking, but it was also a match about following the rules, kind of, because like there's the no rules thing, but they didn't kill each other. They didn't start ripping.
They damn near tried. They
did.
One of them drank the other's blood. Like you don't get much more death than that.
And they both agreed on that spot too. So it's like they didn't just come up with that shit. It's just the cinematic framing of this is stuff that I wish I had seen, and WWE doesn't do it. But think about what would have happened with Wyatt in his prime if he were a hardcore wrestler. Think of what he could have done with that energy. So I mean that just shifted how I saw, again, 2 times this year. I had the way I saw wrestling shifted. And so I got to give it love. Lauren must admit a picture of this match is fuck you. Fuck you. It is. It is. Hold on.
She's right. I knew it.
Fuck you.
Oh.
Okay, hold on.
Well then,
Well played.
Good job, Astrid. Well
I'm
played.
so mad. I'm so mad at you, Astrid.
Bobby, let's try to get this back on the rails. Let's talk about MLW's match of the year. Hopefully, this
I like how you're leaning on me to get things back on the rails here. So but this match here. We're talking about Alexander Hammerstone, or what was it? The Thor, as Melball likes to refer to him as, and soon to be the TNA champion very soon too. Taking on the Beaumaye Fight Club captain Alex Kane, who, if anybody's ever listened to me even once, know that Alex Kane is like number 1 in my heart for sure. I've been back and got that guy since the day one that I saw him walk into MLW to rise to the top, and he's done nothing but rise to the top. And he came in there like a ball of fire. He's got the personality, he's got the skill in the ring, and he's only continued to get better. Took the chance to sit down and let me interview him as well too. So of course I've got that personal connection. So I was rooting for him, and it was tough because going in there with Alexander Hammerstone, who was a fantastic champion, is going to do wonders within the wrestling business. And these two had the opportunity to go out there and put on one hell of a match in the first show that MLW did on Fight TV Plus. So this was the first time we got a live MLW program in many, many years. And so it was a great experience. Obviously, if anyone watched my watch along, I was 3 sheets to the wind by the time this match was on, yelling at the screen, screaming, Beaumaye the entire time, loving every minute of it. And Alex Kane finally got his moment. And it's the presentation of the Beaumaye Fight Club, everybody that comes down to the ring, the high energy of it all that really draws you into it. And then the match delivered as well too. There could be argument. I know a lot of people, MLW fans, could argue that the Tom Lawler Alex Kane match was even better than this one, but this one just had so many kind of special connections with that first live aspect and everything like that I had to pick this one as my number 1 of the year.
So Brian Carter says it was a great match, but Bobby has a man crush on Alex Kane a bit too much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and Bobby Stats isn't with you this time. Bobby Stats says it should have been Alex Kane versus Fatu at Fightland.
Also great match as well too.
So I agonized a little bit over this. This was my second hardest decision to make because I had 5 matches in my match of the year candidate when it came down to it. Gunther versus Gable on Raw. The men's deadline Iron Survivor match where Trick Williams gets all 4 of his pins in the last 2 minutes of the match to earn the shot at Ilya Dragunov, which still hasn't happened yet because of Ilya's unfortunate injury. Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber was on the list. But at the end of the day, I ended up making Ashton very happy, and I went to Puerto Rico. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. This was the most fun I had this entire year watching wrestling. The entrance that Bad Bunny gets in that building in Puerto Rico is it's a pop that's hard to beat. He's a celebrity who wrestled a WWE version of a hardcore match about as well as anybody could.
Yes.
Nobody can say that Bad Bunny is one of those old celebrity wrestlers. This guy takes his shit seriously. They put him in there with talent who can help him along. But this guy puts in the work to make sure that every time he shows up, he does something spectacular. This match was fantastic. Yes, it's a bit overbooked with having the whole LW come out, having Savio Vega there, having Carlito return here. There's a lot of extra in this match. But at the end of the day, sometimes the best wrestling match isn't the best match of the year. Sometimes it's, I turned this match on, I had fun. I can still hear the crowd chanting for Bad Bunny, singing his song. And it's not even his normal, like with Jericho, when they sing Judas, it's because that's the song he always uses. If he were to change it to some other Fozzy song, nobody would be able to sing a bar because nobody knows any other Fozzy song other than that one. I don't even think Jericho knows any other Fozzy song. Bobby, you don't count. Nobody should know any other Fozzy songs other than Judas.
I don't know. There's a certain nobody cares aspect to Fozzy.
Oh, trust me, we know that they don't care. We're going to leave it at that for right now. But no, when he comes out to, instead of having his Booker T theme, when he comes out to Cambia, and that crowd is from beat one, they're ready to sing the first word of that song. And it's the entire stadium just going nuts for him. It's fantastic. Brian Carter says, can we have an indie wildcard category? El Assassino versus Cannonball Kelly on PPW was an instant classic.
Well, hold on here, Brian. Are you talking about the chairs match that hasn't released yet, and you're just basing it on clips that you've seen so far because you're anticipating the release coming up very soon on our channel?
Maybe he was there live.
He was not there live. I know he wishes he was there live, but I know he wasn't there live because Brian wouldn't come all the way to Saskatchewan here after all this time and not at least stop and say hello and introduce himself at the show.
I mean, who would go to Saskatchewan, period? Just kidding. Mel, we're going to go ahead and go to you now that I've put a dagger through Bobby's poor heart. Let's go ahead and talk about, you've talked about it a little bit here, your match of the year in New Japan.
I'm feeling a little shaded right now because I'm right next to Saskatchewan and we are just as flat, my guy.
Edmonton is lovely. I love Edmonton.
Oh,
it's looking like someone who's not here.
Y'all are
It's
so
all Canada. It's all Canada. It's subpar as it is.
We love it here. We're a party people. As mentioned earlier, my match of the night or match of the year was Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the US title there at Wrestle Kingdom 17. This was everything I expected and more with these two guys. When you expect that aerialness out of both of them and you expect the intensity, but these guys were just on freaking fire this entire match. From start to finish, they were go, 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 but they played it so right, as they both do, and take the breaks that they know that they need to get the crowd ramped up again. Despite my boy Ospreay not winning in this match, the match itself was such a ride and such an amazing and incredible match. You can't help but be like, yes, this was why they had their 2.0. I can't remember which show it was. It was the one in London, I believe, wasn't it?
All in.
Yeah, all in.
Yeah. The rematch there was just as crazy. I don't know what it is about these guys, but there's every once in a while you find the right combination of wrestlers who, no matter how many times they get in the ring, they entertain the crowd and they come up with something new to entertain the crowd. And that is Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. That combination is a combination I will never get tired of because they have proven time and time again, every single time they have a match, they're going to make it just as great, but completely different from the match they had before.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are two of the best bout machines in the world. I know Kenny goes by best bout machine, and we wish him well in a speedy recovery, hopefully, because we know he was in some rough shape earlier on this month, but sounds like he's doing better. He was able to at least go ahead and do a best games of the year thing with Creed this year, so he must be doing at least a little bit better to be able to go ahead and spar with Austin Creed for a bit, even if it's just verbally. And then in Stardom, your match of the year over there in Stardom.
Match over in Stardom was actually on the recent Queendom show for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship between Julia and Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne came into Stardom just like a wrecking ball. She came in and just abused everyone, quite literally. She is pure power, but she came in and learned so much in her time in Stardom that by the time she has gotten to this match with Julia, they know every little thing about each other. And this match was so flawless, so seamless. We got to see the raw power coming out of Megan Bayne. She literally was yeeting Julia around by her braids, and it was incredible. Julia struggling to do the same thing, obviously, because Bayne is an Amazon in comparison. Julia, though, really showed off her technical prowess in this match, which is something she usually does, but not to this degree. And she had to bring it out because she's not used to dealing with such a powerhouse like Megan Bayne. I feel like this match was a way to introduce kind of the world to Julia and what it is that she can do, because she's wrestled these girls with that technical, high speed power move kind of thing until Megan Bayne. She's showing with Megan Bayne that not only can she handle all the littler girls, she can handle the powerhouses that North America has to offer her. And with the rumor abound that she's going to be coming over to WWE soon, this is preparation for her. And this match, if you want to see what she's probably going to be giving you in the WWE, this would be the match to watch.
We will gladly accept Stardom's wonderful gift of yes, we will.
That was actually a match that Bobby Petito recommended recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, and Bobby also Astrid saying NXT. But Bobby Petito also suggests for Stardom, Mayu Iwatani versus Utami Hayashishita. Hayashishita. Almost.
Yes, I fully endorse this. That was incredible match. I mean, the Red Queen she was the first recent one in this year to travel to North America and kind of give us that nice little taste of Stardom. Mayu was the second one to kind of follow that up, and Utami is the one who brought back over Megasis. So, yes, yeah, I would love to see that.
Are you excited to go ahead and donate to us from Stardom, Julia? It's a wonderful gift that you're. If you want,
excited about it. No.
We'll give you Becky Lynch. We'll give you Becky Lynch. Do you want Becky Lynch?
You took Mariah May from us. Who?
No. We didn't. That was them.
Yeah, that was
Tiffany
you,
Stratton 2.0 was Lauren.
And then we gave you Mariah May. We gave Julia. We've given you Kyrie.
I mean, I'm mad Kyrie went back. I'm big mad.
We gave Kyrie back. In WWE's defense, we sent her home. She wanted to come back. It's not our fault.
In her defense, there was a lot of bad stuff kind of happening to her at that time, because I believe that was around the time that Hana Kimura had passed away. Mm-hmm. So I believe that was when she needed that time.
I agree. And by the way, I think it was perfect for both her and for WWE to have her go, because she's come back a bigger, better star because she had time away. The fans got to miss her. And to be honest, the end of her run here wasn't the greatest. There was good stuff going on. I think they were building to something fun. But I think now with Triple H, who has a better handle on women's wrestling, who has a better handle on actually trying to utilize all of the talent on his roster, I think he's going to hopefully do a better job. And we'll see what happens. We have Jade Cargill set to debut at the Royal Rumble expectedly. We apparently might be having Trinity come back for a one-off at the Royal Rumble. There are rumblings that Camille is headed to NXT. There are rumors that Julia is headed to NXT. Wow. So there's going to be an influx of potential women's wrestlers. Not to mention, AJ's just sitting there now that Phil's back. Just saying. A one-off in January wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea.
No, he did name dropper.
I would be opposed to a revolving door. Like, you give me some talent, I give you some talent, and in a few months we switch. Come back.
That worked really well for AEW, but I'm very interested to see WWE do that, like on a longer term stuff, like because that's weird for them to do, and I really hope that they treat the talent trade-offs well, because that's not good.
I was gonna say, we just sent Charlie Dempsey for about a week or so. We sent him over to, was it All Japan? I believe it was. Yeah, there are rumors of Japanese partnerships. Triple H apparently wants to try to work with El Presidente Go Ace. El President Ace. So it's not going to happen. I guarantee you.
I'm sitting here
New Japan is never going to
work. He can want in one hand and piss in the other and see which gets full first, man. Sorry.
They learned after Inoki partnered with WWE that they're not going to do that again. It did not work out very well. WWE's burned them a couple times. And honestly, they've burned WWE a couple times too. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, to be specific with those ones. They've I won't say never, but I'll say very unlikely.
Yeah. All
it
signs
was
point
also
no.
unlikely that CM Punk could return to WWE.
You know what? I would have said he hasn't wrestled the match, but he has wrestled on house shows, so technically he is back now.
As Ted DiBiase used to say, everyone has a price.
What a fucking loser.
Well, we're going to go ahead and move on.
I'm so sorry. That was picked up. That was hot mic. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good. I agree. Punk is not worth the time or the money that they're devoting to him. But whatever. Anyway,
if we can make money using
if we can make money using Phil, we're going to use Phil. Don't worry. Bobby, we're going to, again, back to Bobby to try to get things back on the rails. Bobby, Women's Wrestler of the Year.
Women's Wrestler of the Year, I gave to Janai Kai on this one. I went back and forth a couple times with this category because, again, Janai Kai has been there for such a short period of time, but the featherweight division only really kind of started to really ignite kind of into 2023 for MLW finally. While it existed for a couple of years now, this is where it really started to take off. And Janai Kai's debut was not only unexpected because she was a mystery opponent, but she comes in here, this badass woman, the kick demon, as they call her, scary enough that she could probably kick the asses of anybody on the MLW roster. I don't care which gender they are. She has made me a fan in a short period of time, and she has been putting in the work, whether it be on the Fusion tapings or on the main card or both, working double time on specific dates and stuff like that for the company, holding the title very, very strong, and to a point where with an influx of talent that they've had in the featherweight division, there is still a debate on whether or not Janai Kai will hold this belt for quite some time because they can trust in her to be a great champion right now. So Janai Kai wins it for me on this one.
Yeah. Lauren.
My Wrestler of the Year is Julia Hart. She absolutely, out of all of the people who would be this hot, who would be this much of an asset to their company, out of both the Varsity Blondes and the House of Black, which she's been in both, who makes the most money? Who moves the most merch? Whose matches has everybody's eyes on them? This bitch right here. This spooky little bitch. That's it. That's it. Her game went so much higher this year. Like, she lost forever, and she was sort of doing okay in 2022. Wasn't really anything special. She was mid-carding it. And it's like she put in the work with a big W. She took some huge risks in her look and the fashion and the music, and it all came together, and she's exactly what AW needs, I think. And I hope she does make a stable of spooky bitches.
Yeah. So I was torn in my women's wrestler of the year, because we have the most dominant storyline woman wrestler of the year, and that's Rhea Ripley. It's undeniable. The person who's been in the best stories as far as women's talent is Rhea Ripley. But she didn't wrestle a ton as the wrestler of the year. So I went to somebody who wrestled a whole hell of a lot this year, whose game went from, I'm not sure she's right for any professional wrestling, to, oh my God, she's one of the best things on my television screen.
All I have to say now is it's Tiffy time.
I did it. I couldn't not do it. It's Tiffany Stratton. It's the Cowboy Barbie doll. She took NXT by storm this year. She was going to win the NXT Women's Championship on 3 different occasions, and 2 of which they got changed on her last second. The ladder match that Indy Hartwell won at Stand and Deliver, Tiffany Stratton was supposed to win, and she didn't. Then, when they had the triple threat match on NXT television shortly afterwards, Indy Hartwell got hurt. They were going to put the title on Tiffany Stratton then, and they didn't, because Indy decided she was going to go back out there. She went back out there, won the match, then found out she was going to be out for 3 months, and got drafted, so they had to take the title off of her then. And they're like, well, I guess finally we can give the title to Tiffany. And she ran with it, and she's been a mainstay on NXT television the entirety of the year. Her game got taken to a new level when she worked with Becky Lynch, and she got that mega star rub by having Becky Lynch come down to NXT, her constantly being on Raw, to the point where even Charlotte Flair was saying she's the potential, the future of WWE's women's division. She has gone from being a character that I was worried wouldn't get over as Daddy's little rich girl, all the way to a competent wrestler who is at the top of this division, to the point where I think she could debut on Raw Monday night, win the title, and not have it look like a silly idea. I think she's that good. I think she's ready for the main roster. Her mic skills, ironically, still need a bit of work. That's the one area where I think she still struggles, is a live in-ring promo. If you have her anywhere else but in the ring in front of people talking, she's money. But she falters just a little bit when there's a live crowd in front of her. She has a bit of a trouble with that. And if she has a trouble with it with the 500 people or less that are in the CWC, I'm going to hate to see what happens when they start putting her in front of 10,000 people on a weekly basis on Raw or SmackDown. But if Rhea's not going to wrestle more than 15, 20 times in a year, I mean, Tiffany Stratton did everything that she needed to do to be Wrestler of the Year. So, yeah, Tiffany Stratton. Yeah, I knew Ashton
for it, but it's fair. It really is.
I look at it and I go, who else? Like, WWE did a really good job with the women's division, but really, who else stood out from the competition? Like, Rhea was part of the most dominant story on all of WWE in 2023 with the Judgment Day. But it wasn't because of the matches she's having. It's because of the impact she's having on the men's matches around her. It's not Bianca. It's not Charlotte. It's not even Io, who comes back, wins the Money in the Bank, cashes in, and has this great championship reign going on right now. The only other option I had was to give it to Bayley, who had the worst in-ring year of her career from a wins-loss record-wise. But she's been telling a fantastic story as part of Damage Control with this idea that she was in charge and now she's on the verge of being kicked out. But at the end of the day, it's Tiffany because she did it. Like, she was the main star of the women's division in all of WWE. No, don't tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm right. No, Barry. No, it's not Chelsea Green. And Barry, I need you to leave because when I talk about my men's wrestler of the year, I need Barry to leave.
Oh, the shenanigans begin because Barry has arrived. I love it.
Oh, yes. Mel, let's go. Let's start with New Japan Wrestler of the Year.
New Japan Wrestler of the Year was Will Ospreay. Obvious. This man has just been on a roll, especially since COVID. He's just been gaining. His unique ability to just cut promos wherever, whenever, however, and they get so over, and so much attention on his social media is just so good. It's bit him in the butt a few times in the past, but this year he was good. He was, what word we're going to say, he was conservative with how many F-bombs he dropped on his thing. Winning, where are my notes here? Yeah, coming off the loss to Omega from Wrestle Kingdom, he's kind of been Moody Broody Ospreay. And if you watch Andre Melball's Wrestling Talk, you'll know Moody Broody Ospreay is championship material. He is the Ospreay that gets all of the championships. Yeah, bruv. Exactly. It's become a regular fixture in my lingo now. And
Bruv.
it makes no sense because I am the whitest white girl. Oh, dear.
Dude, bruv isn't racial. Bruv is country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's a
we are
European
country here.
Yeah,
Big
well, yeah,
trucks,
it's
tight
like-
pants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bruv isn't
that's
racial.
Alberta.
No, bruv is just
like the
you live
Midwest
in England
Western.
and you want to talk to a dude. It's like saying bro.
Yeah.
It's the same,
Yeah,
only it's got
But bruv
chav.
has become-
It's got chav.
It's a
Connotation.
UK,
Yeah.
bro.
It's a little.
He's the
fro-
UK Matt Riddle. There we go.
that I
He's the
use
UK
to gym
Matt
now.
Riddle.
What's up, bruv?
Yeah.
Keeps the week
What'd you
away.
say? Mel, I couldn't hear you.
It's a little thing that I say at the gym now to keep the week away. Get out of here, bruv. Go on, bruv.
Go on, bruv. Go on, bruv.
Get some deodorant, bruv. Yeah, he's kind of been on a war path this year to really prove his dominance and prove that he is the best in this business, whether it's cutting a promo, whether it's traveling the world, whether it's putting, like, he's just showed up to house shows and fought their best guy just because he can. He's Will Ospreay. He's one of those people who also isn't afraid to take those intelligent losses. And he knows when to lay down and when to let someone else take the star kind of spotlight of the show. And he knows when to elevate somebody. He's one of those wrestlers who I compare Utami to, who even Jordan Oliver from GCW is one of those people who elevates the person they're fighting as much as they elevate themselves. And man, he does that. I mean, if you saw the Wrestle Kingdom 18 when he came out in his Assassin's Creed stuff, you had the whole crowd just absolutely on fire, chanting, elevated, and singing along with the song, yelling Ospreay. This man has such a following, and he has earned every single person that follows him. He's worked so hard this year. I'm sad that we're probably losing him, another casualty. We're losing to AEW most likely, but
Oh yeah, he's
I
already
feel
signed.
like
He's already
connection-
signed. Pens on paper.
Yeah, the connection though between NJPW and AEW, I think, is going to be very lucrative for both companies in
Yeah.
the year to come because we got United Empire. It is more of an NJPW faction, but Ospreay is the leader. So we have, United Empire guys who are probably going to stay in Japan, and then we'll have Ospreay probably being the kingpin, pulling the strings from AEW. I kind of live for it.
Yeah. And then we head on over to Stardom.
Yes, my Stardom one. Julia, obviously. I mean, this woman, I call her the chameleon because it feels like every month or so, she changes up her look, she changes up her gear, she changes up absolutely everything. But not only that, she has the ability to cut promos in Japanese and Italian and now in English. She's worked very, very hard on her English. She put out a very good promo encouraging people to go to Stardom's show before NJPW's Wrestle Kingdom there. And it was so good. It was so flawless. So she's ready. She's ready to invade North America, I think. But like, she started the year off fire, having that World of Stardom championship that she won from Suri at Queendom the year before. Losing it to Tam did not slow her momentum at all. It was like she just hit the ground running, picked up the Artist of Stardom championships with Thekla and Mai Sakurai, and then also the NJPW Women's Strong title. She's been defending that thing a hot minute. I believe she's at 7 defenses now, and she hasn't lost that title. She's just so good. And as I mentioned in the favorite match, her against Bane, she has shown just how versatile she can be in that ring and adaptable to whatever it is that she has to face. You guys are going to be in for a treat when she makes it over to WWE, if that's where she's going.
Yeah, and to talk more about Brav, we do have our own resident UK person, Barry Monkey, jumping in. It's more of a southeastern England thing. I'd tell you what the rest of us call them, but I'm not swearing while young Bobby is here.
Trust me, Barry. I'm pretty sure my old man called me worse.
No, I think he's talking about Bobby Stats.
Oh, no,
Lauren,
he's talking about me. I've heard the comments.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Lauren was trying to say something or if she was just making actions because we didn't hear anything she said. There we go.
Fuck you, Barry.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I'll tell you exactly what I think of what you're saying. Fuck you, Barry. I lived in Southeast England for a long time. So I'm the meanest person about it, but I'm also the don't say shit around me.
And while we're talking about Wrestlers of the Year, we've already talked about the New Japan Wrestler of the Year. Lauren, why don't we go ahead and talk about your male Wrestler of the Year in AEW?
When you look at everybody, it's so hard to choose. Never mind, it's definitely not. It's absolutely 110% Eddie Kingston. No one could, I don't think anybody could have seen this trajectory happen. I don't feel like anybody expected that particular trajectory. Like they expected him to do his rounds in, NJPW. He would get his, his dream match with Shibata and it would be what it was. But then he started belt collecting and collecting and collecting. And then the C2, I call it the C2 climax. Then the C2 happened and it was like watching someone blossom. Like these were not just the same old, Eddieisms that were in his, very good promos. These were different. This felt different. This felt like a big risk. And because he sold that so well and so consistently, and he kept that energy. Like that energy was smaller coming into the C2 and then it just got magnified. And watching him win in New York was crazy. And it capped off someone who I don't think could, just the best growth in a man on that ring. It's not that his wrestling got immensely better. His promos got stronger and his journey is undeniable. And that's why he's my male wrestler of the year. And
he has one of the best wrestling themes in the entire world. Like
the
if
world
you
is cold, bundle up. I said the world is cold, bundle up. Oh yeah.
If you can't get pumped listening to Eddie Kingston's theme music, you got no heart, man. That stuff is fantastic.
Oh yes.
Bobby, we're heading to MLW and shocker, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure Brian Carter would never have figured out that I picked this one. Here's the case. Even though obviously I'm a big Alex K fan, I'm gonna say that MLW, and any MLW fan can agree, had probably one of their toughest years on record. They had kind of come to an end of having some of the old guard starting to leave and move up to other companies. And they always have this kind of transition period where they need to build new stars and do new things. They had Court Bauer, who was kind of taken out of the picture in terms of, you know, being right in there to produce everything the way he likes to do it, because he was tied up with the legal battle with the WWE, which he took a settlement. So it's a win. I'll take it as a win. He said F you to the establishment. He got money out of him. So now he's got some FU money. We're going into 2024. Alex Kane was, outside of the featherweight division as a whole, was the other shining spot for all of MLW in a sense this year. They built a star. They put him in a main event picture. He carried his own in that main event picture. He's grown this Beaumaye Fight Club to something that has become almost addictive to watch. The presentation of it, the people that are in the forefront of the actual Beaumaye Fight Club itself, whether they're involved in tag matches or singles matches or anything of the sort, they have done this great faction that has come out of nowhere and has been built within the ranks of MLW. And that has happened over the course of this year. Meanwhile, Alex Kane taking that championship and winning in some fantastic matches, like taking it from Hammerstone. He ends up turning it around, beating Willie Mack. He has the match with Filthy Tom Lawler, which was, again, one of the top matches that they had of all of this year. And, you know, just in general, like, he's got Matt Cardona at One Shot, again, another great matchup that he had too. And then he's got this one coming up on Saturday that we find out he's feeling under the weather going into. He actually is got a really bad cold, but he's going to go out there with the intent to kick the living daylights out of Richard Holiday tomorrow night. And I don't doubt for a second that he's going to do it. Alex Kane, as long as we can keep him, I'm going to be very happy that he's there. But I don't think that with the rising star of Alex Kane being the way it is, that we can hold on to him for much longer, because it won't be long before WWE and AEW are knocking on this guy's door and trying to get him over to their companies. I am used to it. As we were talking about lending people, MLW are the lenders of all, because the big guys take from MLW quite frequently, and we're very, very used to it. We're going to be losing Jacob Fatu soon. I'm certain of that. He'll go somewhere bigger and better because that's what he deserves. We just lost Hammerstone. I'm used to this. This is what happens with MLW, but we will hold on to our Alex Kane as long as we can.
Yeah, and so, okay. I preface my wrestler of the year with a caveat. I love Seth Rollins. I think he's great. I think he's done some fantastic work this year. But he wasn't my wrestler of the year.
Okay.
I think Gunther has done such incredible things with the Intercontinental title. But almost all of his work has been, for the most part, restricted strictly to television. Besides the great run he had in the Rumble and a couple of random pay-per-view appearances, he hasn't been dedicated to being a pay-per-view guy. So I went to the main storyline that has carried WWE throughout the entire year. I went to the Judgment Day. And I said, I'm going to pick a member of the Judgment Day to be the wrestler of the year.
Oh,
and
no.
as I kept looking at the Judgment Day, I came to a very sad conclusion. My wrestler of the year is Dominic Mysterio. My wrestler of the year is Dominic Mysterio, and here's why. He has wrestled everybody and anybody in this calendar year. He has wrestled CM Punk, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, the Creed brothers, Jey Uso. He has wrestled almost everybody. It seems unthinkable, but I'm telling you, if you really look long and hard, he wrestled on 3 brands. He was part of the most predominant story on Monday Night Raw, and with Rhea Ripley, became one of the most must-see talents, for good or for bad, in all of wrestling. And they've had him work with everybody. And at the end of the day, he carried that North American title for an awfully long time. And he defended it. Like, he didn't just hold the thing and be like, I am a champion, and they run around with a play title. He defended it constantly on NXT. He defended it at NXT shows. He defended it on Raw and SmackDown for periods of time. At 1 week, he literally wrestled all 3 main shows and defended his title at all 3 main shows in 1 week. At the end of the day, it had to be Dominic Mysterio.
So you're going with abundance of matches versus quality of matches then is the basis of your argument?
No, because the matches he's had are fantastic.
He's fine. He's fine. He's just not the wrestler of the year, if you were to ask me. I would argue that through and through.
I get that Rollins is really good. I get that
Gunther's better.
I get that. But you know what? Gunther does it on television. Dominic does it on pay-per-view. And at some point, you've got to give the pay-per-view love to Dominic Mysterio. He was on the team at War Games. He was on multiple NXT live event, like big show live events. I mean, it has to be Dominic. There is no other good option.
You and Barry just love this.
No, I don't want Barry here for this because of this comment. Dominic is the greatest wise choice. He's done so much with so little talent. He's an example to all the useless sods that we can achieve by simply having a famous parent and loads more talented people around him. Like, I didn't even consider him in the beginning of the conversation, but every time I kept thinking of what's the story that started in January and was still being talked about at the end of the year, it was Judgment Day. And Damian had some good stuff and Finn had some good stuff, but they came and went. Damian's held that briefcase since May. And I mean, he can't seem to hand a briefcase to a referee and get a match. Like, Dominic held the title. He can't even hand a referee a briefcase. Like,
yeah, but Mammy carried Dominic through the entire year, so
who cares?
Literally and figuratively. That's why we care.
Who wouldn't want mommy to carry you? I want mommy to carry me, step on me, do whatever the hell she wants to me. I'm fine with it. Have you seen me?
God. We're having this conversation, huh?
I wasn't intending on it. I wasn't planning on bringing it up.
And I did not take you for the kind to need a dommy mommy.
I don't, but you know, when Rhea's there, you just say yes. When Rhea's there, you just say yes.
This spiraled quickly.
Wow. I love it.
So who's getting us back on the rails this time?
We're gonna go to Mel. Mel has objectively good opinions. Yeah. That is definitely what they're called, and that's definitely what she is.
And it's funny because it's Dominic that she's carrying, so you know, Dommy mommy.
Dommy mommy. Stardom's who to watch in 2024.
Yes. Mina Shirakawa. This woman has had one of the most tumultuous years this year, but frickety frack has she worked so hard to keep whatever ship she is on afloat. She's like the Captain Jack Sparrow of Stardom right now. Like, there's holes in everything, but she's trying to fill all of them. She started Club Venus after her very professional exit from Cosmic Angels, which can't be said the same for Natsupoi in DDM. But leaving Cosmic Angels, forming Club Venus with Zaya Brookside and Mariah May, and then adding Jessie, adding Wakasukiyama, and Xena also. These women dominated, and classically they had their nice little dance routine that they came in with. She has wrestled so incredibly. Mina Shirakawa has really stepped up her MMA game this year, posting a lot in her socials about how she's doing a lot of training behind the scenes. She, as I mentioned earlier, dethroned Saya Kamitani, winning the Wonder of Stardom Championship, even though it was a short I think, too short of a run for her. She should have held it a little bit longer. They kind of kented her in that respect. She also held the Goddess of Stardom championships with Mariah May. I think that even though she's kind of lost all of her members along the way, Zaya Brookside apparently has exited Club Venus. Mariah is now in AEW. We don't see too much of Jessie. We haven't seen Xena in a hot minute. And even Waka's missing at ringside right now. I think this is going to be the year of the Venus. I think we're going to see a lot more ladies added to this faction. And I think that with her tie in AEW, we could potentially see Mina Shirakawa popping up on an AEW show to tag with her former partner, Mariah May. And with Toni Storm's also connection to Stardom, I think that that would be a tremendous trio of women to take on that other trio faction that I've been seeing with Saraya, Ruby, and who's the blonde now? I don't know the blonde.
The current blonde with them, they had Anna J for like 5 seconds. Who is their
Yeah, this
current
is one I don't
blonde?
recognize. She kind of was like, Ruby didn't even know her. Kind of seemed a little funny. It was a little backstage segment.
Oh,
Harley
Harley.
Cameron.
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, there's a setup right there. We got 3 women, severely 6 women who know exactly what they're doing and kind of wrestle with that, or at least have some kind of background in that strong style. Saraya maybe more with that UK strong style, but Tony, the team of Tony, Mina, and Raya would be timelessly beautiful.
That
So
would be
yeah, Mariah May, or sorry,
fantastic.
Mina
But
Shirakawa.
they'd be spending their time like propping up Saraya. I'm sorry, but that's what they'd be doing. And they would be, offered up to that little chomp, chomp, chomp. They deserve better. And I think Mariah May will get it. I'm just not sure how.
Well, hitching her wagons with Toni Storm is going to be a good start. Timeless Toni Storm is going to make sure that she doesn't get run over like a Mack truck.
I love that they're doing the All About Eve storyline. And I really hope that they get Turner Classic Movies involved again, because that was so much fun. That was so much fun. And it's what my soul fucking needed. Mariah May is special. Tony is special.
Speaking of women to watch in AEW, going the opposite direction as Mina Shirakawa is Lauren's pick.
Abaddon. Again, it's like watching Julia Hart. Abaddon has raised herself, and she's done it pretty much on her own, it feels like. Like it almost felt, especially in the beginning of the year, that she was sort of bolstered by positive reactions to her social media presence. And then you saw her put in the damn work. And she shows up and she starts, getting in decent matches, and then she was up for the women's title, which is crazy. Any women's title, crazy. We never thought we'd see that. Well, I think we'll see more of it, especially if she keeps it up. I also wanted to talk about Queen Aminata.
Nice.
She was a delight every time we saw her, and now we're seeing her more in women's main event type stuff. Yes, she's still looking up at the ceiling after a 3 count, but she's there. And her talent is so good. When you see her and say Sky Blue fight, and they've been friends since they both started in the business. When you see them fight, you see something special. And I think that Aminata can carry that on her own in time. I think maybe one of those two is going to be something really special this year. And maybe it's both. But I'm keeping eyes on, and I would highly recommend everybody to too.
Queen Aminata is somebody I've been saying that I wanted to see in MLW for a while, actually, because I've seen her work. It is great. Yeah, I'll second that.
Bobby, MLW's women to watch in 2024.
This one was a no-brainer for me. It was someone who probably could have been the best of the year on that side of things had it not been for a little bit of a hiatus, which has kind of been in storyline anyway. It's Becca. I became an instant Becca fan as soon as she debuted. She's just, in a sense, kind of different. It's something we have seen a little bit before, but she stands out from the crowd, and that's what I like about her. I love the promos that she cuts as music videos or songs that she comes up with. She had her little Christmas jingle recently, but even not being on any matches or even being there physically on television or any of the pay-per-views for them in the last several months, she is still talked about because there is a feud going on between the guy who has a fascination with her, Love Doug, and her supposed actual boyfriend, Brett Ryan Goslin. And Brett Ryan Goslin attacked Love Doug with a crowbar after Love Doug poorly was suckered in to believe that he was going on a date with Becca. And this is leading to a match this coming Saturday where I do believe that we will see the return of Becca, and she will cost Love Doug this particular matchup, carrying that storyline on. And she will come back and she will light up MLW in the featherweight division this year. If there's anyone that I think the fans could get behind being the one to defeat Janai Kai, I think Becca is high on that list with a return.
So when I went to who to watch for in 2024 in WWE and NXT, I instantly went to NXT because we know most of the talent in WWE and on the main roster. There's nobody that we can really expect to break out too much in that women's division. However, there's a star that I think that's starting to form, and she has gotten the biggest thing down, is that she's got a character that she seems to embrace 24/7. It's Ariana Grace. It is Santino's daughter, Bianca Sorelli. She is an absolute delight. Every time she's on screen, she's taken this self-proclaimed Miss NXT thing to the next level. She lost the match, and she was instantly, like 5 seconds after being pinned, and she kind of got up. She's back to doing the little queen wave, the little pageant wave at the end, making sure she's looking at the crowd. She's just spectacular. Her in-ring style is getting there. It can improve. But I think NXT has shown one thing, is that they're willing to devote screen time and in-ring time to any woman who wants to get better, who wants to do more, who's willing to put in the work. They're willing to give you an opportunity. We've seen it with Kiana James, with Fallon Henley, with Tiffany Stratton. We're seeing it now that she's back from injury with Nikita Lyons. We're seeing them give the opportunity to the women who are willing to work for it. And I think with Sol Ruka, not sure when Sol Ruka is coming back. No, not Lash Legend. Never Lash Legend. When it comes to no poor Lash Legend. When it comes to the NXT women's division, Asher's gonna hate this. There's a plethora of wonderful young talent who could go ahead and just give it their all and just totally devote themselves to this business. And Sean's willing to put 2-3 matches. Hell, at New Year's Evil this week, there were 6 matches on that card, 3 of which were women's matches, and only one of them was a championship match. The other 2 had 0 championship implications. They were just matches. They were a grudge match between Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley, and Roxanne Perez taking on Ariana Grace because of a backstage altercation. They're willing to put the work in to give these women time to do the work. And I think in a year from now, she could be up there as one of the best women in this division if she keeps it going. She's got all the talent in the world. Her father was a fantastic, not only a talent, but a character. And the best thing you can do is have a character. And Ariana Grace is that. She embodies that character. And you know what? I'm willing to watch to see what happens. You got Bobby saying Kiana James is also someone to watch. I agree. I think Kiana James is very much a person to watch in 2024. And Barry agrees with me. This is getting scary. We've now agreed twice. Grace is a future star nailed on cast iron certainty. I mean, I wouldn't say she's guaranteed, but she's between the doors that got opened with being Santino's daughter and the ability to be able to talk to him on a daily basis should she need to have any questions, not to mention the fact that she's relying on people like Shawn Michaels and people like Triple H who understand how to develop character in a wrestling sense. It makes a lot of sense that she's got every tool that's needed as long as she's willing to utilize them. We now move on to the men's wrestlers to watch, and we're going to go back to AEW and back to Miss Lauren Goodnight.
I don't think anybody made a bigger splash this year than Swerve Strickland. And he's just getting better every match. The thing with Dustin Rhodes, it wasn't compelling, but he's still him. He's still good. And Dustin is still pulling it out. It was a solid 3-star match. But when you see the growth from his work at WWE to what he's doing now in AEW a couple of years later, if they don't strap a rocket to him and send him to the goddamn moon, they are missing out on serious cash. I think he's going to be AEW World Champion this year. I'll put cash on it. Cash on the table. Watch.
He should be. I don't know if he will be, but he damn sure should be.
If Adam Page has another run, that's acceptable. Like, wouldn't that be fucking perfect? 1, 2, 3, all losses. Like just take wins over Page and then take his belt. Oh, it'd be perfect. But I can't think of who would take the belt off of Joe.
I mean, you've got a long.
You've got off of Joe is smart.
You've got a long line of people though. You've got the Devil and Adam Cole. You've got MJF probably coming back at some point.
Oh yeah, he is going to have his shoulder fixed. He's got shitty knees. So who knows how long he'll be out. I am almost certain he'll come back to AEW. I think that that's probably already been decided. Tony is very good about letting people have extended medical leave, which is something you don't necessarily get with other employers.
Yeah, definitely. WWE does not want you out for an extended period of time if they can help it.
And Tony will make it work for the company. He'll make something happen. He'll make sure that people are, at the very least, protected off screen. Even though occasionally on screen someone does a big botch.
Speaking of people who are definitely going to have an interesting year ahead of them after Wrestle Kingdom this year, Mel's decision is going to be an interesting one. Let's talk about this man.
David Finlay, newest leader of the Bullet Club faction War Dogs in NJPW. He came in like a quiet riot this year. Like him taking over Bullet Club and attacking Jay White to reveal himself as the leader was like huge. And then he kind of was like just chill for the year. He did have that run with Tama Tonga for the Never Open title, but his focus really wasn't himself at the start of this leadership. I feel that his focus was building the War Dogs this year. And boy, howdy, as my partner would say, he built those boys up. At one point, you had the little War Dogs and Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, IWGP Junior champions. You had the big dogs and Gabe Kidd and Alex Coughlin, Mr. Freaky Eyes, being the NJPW Strong champions. And they were dominant. These guys have created a new era of Bullet Club that almost goes back to that just chaotic roots where they just come out and wreck everything and then just leave. And I love it. It's a different type of intensity. It's a different type of aggression that has just been such a privilege to watch. But then Finlay comes out and he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He's got Gato, who looks like a Peaky Blinder, walking down behind him all the time. They have everything that David Finlay does has a purpose right now. And especially coming off of Wrestle Kingdom, he won that global title, defeating Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay in what I'm probably going to say is probably going to be my match of the year next year when we do this. That match was absolutely insane because it was just so perfect the way the three of these men flowed together. But David Finlay then taking it up with Ryan Nicky. I don't remember which Nemeth he is. We were calling them the Meth Brothers. Starting it with Ziggles. both at ringside and backstage. This guy, he's starting the year with a bang. And what better way to start a feud than with the newest, hottest acquisition that NJPW has gotten? That he's just going to have an incredible year. I look forward to seeing what the War Dogs do and if they start coming ashore in North America, rubbing elbows with some of their former members there.
Bobby Petito goes ahead and talks about Robbie Eagles as a person for him to watch in the coming year.
He had a pretty good year, but he wasn't as present as he usually is. He had a tremendous tour though with Koji Fujita, training him in Australia, and they brought back Fujita. Like, he left a little boy, and he came back. Man, Koji Fujita, he looks like a little mini version of Robbie Eagles, and he wrestles like it too. It is tremendous.
We're going to head back over to MLW to get ready to close out this show. Mr. Bobby Munson, who's are you, the men's who to watch in 2024?
I'm going to tell a quick story that leads up to this one here for me. So earlier in this year, I ended up getting a message through social media, through the Prairie Pro Wrestling social media, because we get a lot of wrestlers reaching out that, hey, if you ever have an open spot, we'd like to come work for you guys. So along comes this young up-and-coming talent that's very new to the business, not much reps in just yet, that wants to work for us if he ever has an opportunity. And of course, we can't really afford to just bring somebody in from over the border kind of thing without them being on tour. So I put him in contact with the right people, but I also asked him, hey, how would you like to come and be on a show where I interview you and talk about, your wrestling career? And he agreed to it. And ever since then, talking to this guy, he had a lot of charisma. I could tell right then from this interview. And then I started to see his in-ring work, and I've seen the rise of his work on the independents and within MLW, joining Alex Kane and the Beaumont Fight Club with a lot of energy. I'm talking about my boy, Jay Bougie, right there. Jay Bougie is going to rise to the top in 2024. This guy is a bundle of energy. He's perfect for a middleweight division, tag team division, but he's also at the front of the Beaumont Fight Club. So when their presentation comes forward, he's the first one leading the pack, because that energy is infectious from Jay Bougie. He is such a delight to talk to. He's a delight to watch in the ring. And I'm telling you guys, this guy is going to be holding belts before the end of 2024. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I love the interview with him. I'm excited to see more of his work in MLW. For WWE NXT, there was really only one guy. There was really only one person who could ever be for who's going to be out there for next year. It's Trick Williams. It just kind of has to be Trick Williams. This guy is on the roll of a lifetime. He's gone from being Carmelo Hayes' heater to being the main attraction in that storyline. But he did it. They didn't have to manufacture a reason to make him the main event portion of that storyline. It almost feels like Wardlow and MJF, where Wardlow organically got over being the big guy to somebody else. And all of a sudden, at the end of the day, they realize people love this dude. And they started booking Trick in matches. And he started getting the crowd behind him. And he had the music. And the crowd took that hustle and flow music, and they just added that whoop that trick to it. And he has gone to another level. The sky's the limit for Trick Williams. He's big. He's tall. His in-ring work is getting better week after week. Asha says, whoop that trick. Perry says it's Von Wagner, damn it. Von, the promo god. No. Bobby Cheeto says Charlie Dempsey. I like Charlie Dempsey. I think Charlie Dempsey's a little too bland and boring to be somebody to watch in the WWE style. He takes after his dad, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Because while William Regal is fantastic, William Regal was not always the most entertaining person on the television screen, and Charlie follows that same wavelength. I don't think NXT and WWE are going to be where Charlie Dempsey has the biggest times of his career. The work in Japan he's doing right now, hopefully for him, gets the eyes from the right people in New Japan on him. And I'd love to see him working in New Japan, because I think that's where he could flourish. A no-nonsense, submission-style, hard brawler, I think, is perfectly designed to go ahead and work in New Japan. But Trick Williams is just this iconic character right now, and NXT is handing him the ball and saying, let's go for it. With the attack angle where we don't know who attacked him, but we all know Carmelo Hayes attacked him. We don't know it, but we know it. It's totally fantastic. If Stand and Deliver doesn't end with Trick Williams holding that NXT championship over his head, I think they've done something wrong. And that's a bold statement, considering his only title reign was a 3-day reign with the North American Championship when he beat Dom and then lost it on that same Tuesday because they wanted to push him to the main event picture. Sometimes you roll the hot hand, and right now Trick is that hot hand, and I really hope that they just roll with it and Stand and Deliver in Philadelphia. Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams for the NXT Championship could be something special. Plus, that music is just fantastic, because the music is nothing, but when the fans over it, and you got Booker T sitting in there yelling in his ad-libs, it's just, it makes you feel good. It kicks you up a notch. But that's been the Our Local Establishment 2023 Year-End Awards. We're going to go ahead and give everybody an opportunity to tell people where they can find them in the coming years, and we're going to go ahead and give them the big screen to do that. We're going to go ahead and start with our good friend Lauren Goodnight. So, Lauren, where can the good people find you in 2024?
Hi, OLE watchers, listeners, and everybody who follows us. My name is Lauren Goodnight. I used to be an actress, and now I'm a cozy streamer. So catch me on Twitch at Lauren Goodnight, LAUREN GOODG. Blah. Of course, I misspelled my name live. LAUREN GOODNIGHT. On Twitter, you'll find me at Lulu Goodnight, LULUGOODNIGHT. And I hope that you come and enjoy and contribute to the vibe, because it's only a vibe this year.
Miss Melball Collins.
Hello, everyone. If you're wanting to follow Melball, you can follow her on the X thing at Collins Melball. You can follow her on everything else, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Mastodon at Melball Collins. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, where I work with Ed's other partner, Andre C., doing Andre and Melball's Wrestling Talk. We do weekly videos updating you guys on all the great things happening at NJPW and Stardom. So you want to check out that. You can also check me out on Astro Pizarro's YouTube channel, where we do our show, Ladies Wrestling Showcase, where we talk all things women's professional wrestling.
Yeah. Mr. Bobby Munson, where can the good people find you?
Oh, I'll stop clicking. Anyway, yeah, there's the ticker. There it is. Just read the ticker below. That's where you can find me on all the socials anyway. As for stuff that I've got going on, of course, Thursday nights, it's myself and Papa Smokes on Ring Respect Radio. And if anyone didn't catch the announcement, this Thursday night, we're debuting a segment that Papa Smokes has been working on for a long time called A Trip Through the Territories. Yes, Bobby, no buttons. I agree. So A Trip Through the Territories is going to be our look at the promotions, the promoters, and the wrestlers that were well known during the different territories. And we're going to make our first stop at the World Class Championship Wrestling in the Von Erich family on this Thursday night stream. Of course, tomorrow you're going to be able to join myself and Papa Smokes and anybody else in OLE that wants to join for the MLW Tailgate Watch Along Party for Kings of Coliseum. So we're going to be able to watch that tomorrow night. Sunday, I've got Point of View, where I will be gaming as well as taking any direction from you, the live viewing audience. Whatever topics in the world of pop culture that you want to talk about, join me on there and let's get the ball rolling. Other than that, Prairie Pro Wrestling every Saturday with myself and Papa Smokes, calling all the shots. You know where to find me.
And of course, for me, it's pretty simple. You can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch where I simulcast all my live content at twitch.tv/edfries2002. You can also find me here every Tuesday night as I talk all things NXT with the great and lovely Ash Bizarro. And then the year that Marvel is going to give us is going to be something. Me and Andre have to get on the ball because apparently Echo is releasing next week, and we thought it was later on this month. So we've got all those coming up. We just did 9 straight days of Marvel talk where we had episodes for all of the What If Season 2 episodes day on release. So you can go ahead and catch all of those on the YouTube channel. But yeah, just go ahead and catch me here with all these lovely people when I can. I want to thank you all for joining me again. This has always been one of the fun shows of the year that I get to do. To bring in all kinds of lovely people from different areas of wrestling that I don't get to watch all the time. And get to have everybody, because it's always so dominated by what was the WWE best match of the year? What was the AEW best match of the year? And a lot of times we forget other promotions, whether it be Impact, whether it be MLW, whether it be New Japan and Stardom. Some things get tossed to the side. And I like bringing everybody on to talk about it, because the one thing that the wrestling world needs is more togetherness. Tribalism is way too big right now. And there's too much good wrestling going on to watch just one promotion or to only think that one promotion is good. So make sure you're watching as much pro wrestling as you can. Take in the advice from other people and just pop into streams and find out who wrestlers are and what they're doing and everything else. One of my favorite things is every now and then I'll make sure I'll watch it. I'll listen to it every week. But some weeks I go ahead and I watch the shows along with it if I can find them with Andre and Melball's Wrestling Talk, because I love learning about New Japan stuff. And I don't often get to go ahead and spend the $10 a month every month. So maybe I'll find one month and I'll get the $10 and I'll go and watch a bunch of their shows and figure out what matches I need to watch for the year. But for everybody here, I want to thank you. We are going to go ahead and raid out on the Our Local Establishment side to somebody. Bobby, do you have a raid going?
Yeah, I'm going to send it over to, I think it's Shayna Baszler, right? QO Spades.
Yes, QO Spades is Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, going over to Shayna.
All right, everybody.
Stream.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Congratulations.
Give it like 5 seconds here, Ed.
All right.
5 seconds. Here we go. Raid's going out now.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.